we have nibbled around the edges of what's called MLA style. Over the next few days, we'll take a few more steps into the shallow end of this important part of writing and research. MLA, if you remember from earlier in the year, stands for the Modern Language Association. It's much like the NCSS, it's a group of professionals, in this case, writers and researchers, who've come together. They pay some money to help support their organization. They elect officers. They hire a staff. They have big meetings. They publish books. They publish position papers. It's a group that's meant to help each other do their jobs better and improve this kind of small part of the world, which is writing. And so they're working on many of the things that you are learning how to do as a student. And the MLA group, one of the main things they publish is what's called a handbook. It's basically a rule book for how to write effective scholarly papers, articles in journals, research papers, those types of compositions. There are other groups that do something similar. So like the APA, which is the American Psychological Association, publishes a set of rules that scientists tend to use when they're doing their research. At the middle school, we use MLA. You'll continue to use it at the high school as well. So for the next 5 years, this will be the set of rules you follow in all four of your core classes. And you can see their objective in this piece of the introduction that I've pasted on screen. And you can learn even more of it if you want to go to their website. For now, pause the video and read this introduction. Basically, their goal, forgive me the pun, is to get everyone on the same page. Their goal is to make it so that people are writing using the same format and style rules and ways of giving credit to sources so that it's easier to read things because everything looks the same. You can imagine if you have 10 basketball players out on the court, each following different rules, it's going to be a really chaotic game. But when they all know the rules, when they're all following the same structure, it moves smoothly. The same thing should be true of our writing. And there's 3 basic areas that the MLA follows or organizes. First, how to format our documents. And there's much more complex formats for more adult research and writings. For student writings, it's a fairly simple format, some of which we've already learned. That the correct heading is to have your student name, your teacher name, class name, and date in that top left corner. You center a title after that, and you double space the whole paper. We've been learning about that since the beginning of the year. You also follow the standard margins of 1 inch. As far as your font, you stick with usually the big 3, Times New Roman, Calibri, or Arial. If you're using Calibri or Times New Roman, those are smaller fonts, so we tend to focus on the font size of 12. If you're using Arial, it's a little larger, so you use 11. The second area that MLA organizes is what's called an in-text citation. We have not done this yet. We've referenced our sources by using the names and titles in our sentences, but an in-text citation is a very formal research reference. You're putting a simple summary of your source in parentheses, often at the end of the sentence. Usually, it includes the last name of the author you're referencing, the date it was published, and if it has a page number for the specific information you're using, you also include that. And the idea is right within your text as you are presenting your ideas, you're giving the audience enough information so that they know where your facts or quotes or details are coming from. And then if they want more information, they can use these basics to find your full citation in the work cited, and then maybe even find it in their library. So that's the third thing that MLA organizes, the design of the works cited page. And we won't do a huge amount with these in 7th grade, though we've started to have you practice looking at the full citations. The works cited is what comes at the very end of your research paper. It is a complete list of all of the sources that you included in your paper. It's alphabetized and organized in a very specific set of rules as far as what goes in quotes and italicized and what needs to be included. The goal is to give the full set of information that an audience would need to be able to locate each of these sources. An MLA explains how to reference each type of document out there. This is what half of their handbook is. How do you reference a website versus a video versus a picture versus a textbook? All of this matters in a big way. You're going to look at a document that I'll send you the link of. In class, we will get it on a colored piece of paper that we'll keep in our writing tab all year. It basically is my one-page summary of the MLA handbook. And I start by explaining why we need to do this, what we need to include, and what needs to be cited. So it's kind of the why, the how, and the what. Take the time to read this carefully. Eventually, I'll highlight again what I think is really important about citations. I think all three of these are essential. We tend to focus a lot of time when we're younger just thinking about plagiarism. And while it's very important not to plagiarize, we should also recognize that strong citations and MLA style help to build our credibility because we are showing that we are using research to back up our points, and it's allowing our audience to dig deeper if they want.